Newport-Fersan in the Field. Real issues, real solutions is brought to you by Newport-Fersan Jamaica Limited, the first on the land.
All right, so in addition to the heavy rain and wind that we have been told about by the Meteorological Service, the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RAD, has also issued to farmers advisory saying, listen, be careful where you light fires. But there's another issue that is at play, and that is the proliferation of pests and insects, and all of that is related to what is happening with the climate around us and the prevailing weather conditions. And so this morning for First Hand in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions, we're turning the spotlight on pest control for higher yields. Joining us is agronomist m.gooden. Good morning, Murphy, and welcome back to the show. How are you?
Good morning, Althea. Thank you. I'm doing fine. And you?
Good. I am great. I'm great. Good to have you on. This is extremely important information you're sharing this morning. So let us jump right in as we get a sense of what is going on. In what ways would you say the current weather patterns have made it more favorable for pests and diseases to impact crops? What are you all noticing out there in the field?
Okay, now you basically made a little bit of mention of it out here, where certain areas on the island were getting heavy rainfall. Other parts as well, we're seeing that the temperatures are increasing and these areas are very dry and windy. Now, when you take a look at the increased rainfall, what we're seeing is that as a result of this, soil level moistures are basically increasing. And as a result of oversaturation within the soil, we tend to realize that the outbreak of bacteria and fungal issue is basically becoming a problem. Now, as a result of this, we're basically seeing issues such as the root rot. We're seeing issues in the Blue Mountain area, such as the coffee leaf rust issue, among other outbreaks. Now, because of waterlogging that's taking place, key nutrients such as nitrogen, calcium, and potassium will basically become depleted or leached from the soil. And as a result, again, the crops tend to become weaker and they tend to become more susceptible to pest attack. Now, not only that, but in areas where the temperatures are dry and windy, we're seeing where insect pest population is becoming even high. Now, when you take a look at insect pests, the more warmer the climate gets, we tend to realize that there tends to be more generation of pests per season. What does that mean? That basically means that we're basically getting increased pest outbreaks, and because of this, we take a look at our pests such as the whitefly, aphid, mites, thrips, and even the fall armorworm. Now, these pests are basically increasing in numbers. And what we'll also see taking place, because these pests are increasing, they want to tend to survive longer. So they'll basically move away from the warmer period or warmer areas, and they'll try to go into the cooler areas where they can basically expand their impact zones. Now, because there's an increase in the pests, there is going to be a vector-borne increase of the plant viruses. So insects such as our aphids and whitefly, these pests will basically spread viruses, therefore increasing viral transmission from plant to plant. So we're definitely seeing issues taking place on both sides. So whether we're getting a lot of rainfall or we're getting no rainfall whatsoever.
All right, so that is very important information you're shared. So whether it is rainy conditions or hot and dry conditions, we are challenged by an increase in pests and diseases. Now, how, Murphy, would you say these pests and diseases have been impacting crop production and productivity?
All right. Now, it is safe to say that pests and diseases have deeply impacted when it comes on to our our crops. So take, for example, there's a very popular saying out there that says, for us to know where we're going, we need to know where we're coming from. Now, when you take a look at certain crops, over the years, we have seen large drops in yield for key crops. So, for example, in 2012, when we take a look at the coffee leaf rust that happened in 2012 has definitely impacted the coffee crop. Now, in this period out here, we have seen a 24% drop in coffee deliveries. That is basically for the period 2013 to 2014 season. When you take a look at banana in the early 2000 period, the black and yellow figure toka that affects banana, we have seen where it has basically detrimented that specific crop and has caused a drop in basically over 30% of that crop yield. And even when it comes on to our vegetable crops, we have certain issues such as the early and late blight, anthracnodes, the mosaic virus that is basically cutting or slicing off substantial fraction of those crop yields. So we're seeing where the weather definitely plays a key role when it comes down to these diseases and pests.
Okay. Now, the impact of pesticides and the rotation system for our farmers is critical. I know that you always talk about the integrated pest management system, but if there is no such thing taking place, what kind of impact can this have on crop productivity?
Okay, now currently out here, when we take a look at what's going on within the field, a very common thing that we're actually seeing is that multiple farmers are actually using only one particular product to target multiple issues. Now, a farmer will basically analyze it and look at it like this, because there tend to be two types of thinking surrounding pesticide. If a farmer is utilizing a pesticide and it works for him or her, what he or she will do is that they'll basically mix this product really strong because they love the result that they're getting. Mm-hmm. And once they mix this really strong and above the recommended application rate, what they'll see happening is that if some of the pests actually survive, you'll have a lot of issues from there. Now, there's a flip side to that where a farmer does not really have the money like that. So they'll mix the product really weak because they know that it works, but they want it to last for a long period of time. And as a result, the same will basically exist. Now, the danger basically exists for those two sides. And what this will do, you'll basically have control failure. Now, what this is that the pest will basically survive the treatment and they'll basically begin to multiply even more. You'll also have crop damages to the yield. Now, when you take a look at farmers who are over-applying a particular pesticide, this can actually cause phytotoxicity within the plant. And as a result, it will basically damage a crop's yield or even put the plant under severe stress. Therefore, that crop will not do what it's supposed to do.
All right, so we have to be mindful of these things. All right, so let us bring Alwyn and Henry in. We have been trying to get through to Chalisa, but not getting through. Not sure what is happening with her line. It is not ringing at all. But let us welcome Alwyn and Henry to the conversation. Good morning, Alwyn, and welcome to Farm Talk. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing awesome. And yourself?
I am great. Good to have you on with us. What kinds of crops do you grow?
Currently we do have hot pepper, the famous Scotch white pepper on the farm, and we do have okra as well.
Okay, sounds good. That's a good combination. How long have you been in farming?
I've been farming since 2017, so that would be 8 years now and counting.
Yes, and what got you into it? Why did you decide to come in to the sector?
I would say it's a family, it's a traditional routine for my family members stemming from my great-grandfather. So I had to...
So several generations of you have been farming.
Right, that's correct.
Yes,
it was only natural for me.
All right. So in your blood, as they would say.
That's correct.
All right. Now, I would imagine that just like other farmers out there, you have been experiencing problems with pests. How would you say these pests have been impacting your crops? What are the kinds of pests that have been affecting you as well?
Well, Murphy did a tremendous job. So all I need to do is just reiterate or repeat what he had just mentioned. But
Mm-hmm.
some of the pests and diseases that I've encountered thus far, specifically in the okra crop, is what they call a cercospora leaf spot. This is
Ah,
when, as Mr. Gooden also mentioned, this is when you have high humidity in your area. So the humidity of the climate causes lesions or spots to present themselves in the leaves. And as persons may know, through high school days or growing up, once you do have any damages to the leaves, the plant won't be able to make food. And if the plant won't be able to make food, then the plant won't be able to make food for us.
that's
So,
right.
right, so the
So,
cercospora leaf spot is a serious issue that we face in the country. It's a widespread pathogen, and farmers are basically forced or been enforced to adhere to planting distance, because
mm-hmm.
if you plant too clustered, then this will also contribute to the factors of the cercospora leaf spot.
All right.
And
So
this
that is a real
pathogen is,
challenge.
go again.
No, I'm saying that is a real challenge.
That's correct. And if you don't adhere to the recommended planting distance, then you will also have this outbreak of pathogens in your area, and this can cause significant leaf drop on your plants.
And of course, a loss of foliage means that you will not have the kind of yield that you anticipate either.
That is indeed correct.
All right. Or can you just hold on for us? When we come back from the break, I will touch on what products you have been using from Newport-Fersan, Jamaica, and what the results are.
Farmers! Are diamondback moths, cabbage loopers, armyworms, budworms, cutworms, melonworms, aphids, leaf miners, whiteflies among those pests threatening to strike your crop? Well, wait no longer! Strike first with First Strike Insecticide from Newport-Fersan, Jamaica Limited, the first on the land.
All right, so we're inside the feature first and in the field, real issues, real solutions this morning. Our topic is pest control for higher yields. With us, m.gooden, agronomist, and we have a special guest in Alwyn Henry, a farmer. He grows hot peppers and he grows as well okra, and he's been talking to us about some of the challenges that he's been experiencing. All right, that leads me then now, Alwyn, to what you have been using. What products have you been using from Newport-Fersan, Jamaica, and what results have you been getting?
All right, so for this for the cercospora leaf spot, I've been using the Victory Plus. This is an excellent, to say the least, this is an excellent fungicide. It has a systemic method of reacting in the plants. It is absorbed by the leaves, and this works, as I said, systematically. Um, However, a key point to note as well for farmers island-wide is that you have to do preventative spraying other than curative spraying. This is recommended that just to safeguard yourself from possible outbreaks of pests and or diseases. But yeah, back to Victory Plus. I've been using this since I've been introduced to it. Once I do have any form of rain, I apply the Victory Plus to the plant, and I haven't seen any issues. If there are any, then it would be minute or small, to little to no effect on the plants.
Right, certainly sounds good, and I would imagine then that you would recommend it to others.
Definitely, highly recommended. Highly, highly recommended.
All right. Thank you, Alwyn. I really want to wish you all the best, and I hope every continued success in all that you're doing.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
A- All right, you too. Alwyn Henry there. And Murphy, is that typical of the kind of response that you get from farmers? You introduce a product to them, yeah, you talk to them about how it is to be used, they adhere to what you say, and then they get these kinds of results.
Yes, yes, out there. Now, one thing to also note, a very common question that is often asked out there, within the field out there is that what product or what is the best thing to combat this issue, right? Now, it's very common for farmers to just want to stick to only using only one particular spray. Now, it's important out here to know that whenever a particular product is introduced to a farmer, the aim is to always allow the farmer to know that this is to be put apart of what it is that they're already using. Now, the aim is not to just give a farmer a product for them to say that it works. The aim is to give the farmer total coverage over whatever it is that they're battling, right? So the aim is always to basically improve whatever treatment a farmer is already using.
All right, certainly makes a whole lot of sense. It's not just about using the product, it is about using the product properly and recommending something that is suited, best suited for their needs. Now, he mentioned Victory Plus, but what other products distributed by Newport-Fersan are available to help protect crops from pests and diseases?
Okay, now Newport-Fersan have a variety of different pesticides that can be utilized to combat various pests. So when it comes down to insects out there, we have one that's called Spectra. So the Spectra actually has two actives. It contains lambda-cyhalothrin and also profenifos. Now the Spectra is effective when it comes down to the control of trips, mites, aphids, whitefly, leaf miner, leaf hopper, among other pests. It is one of those products that is also oil-based. It also contains translaminar effect, which basically means that once you spray it on one side of the leaf, it basically goes to the underside layer. We also have sucker, which has the active ingredient diphenthurian. And what sucker is, it basically aids in basically controlling against whitefly, aphids, and among other pests. We also have First Strike, which is one of our popular sprays, insecticide. What First Strike is, it contains indoxacarb and it's excellent in the control of larvae or worms. We also have for our fungicide, as Alwyn had mentioned, the Victory Plus. The Victory Plus contains meta-axel, and it also contains traces of phosphate, which is also important when it comes down to building the plant system itself. We also have other products. The Clear West is also an excellent one. It's a combination of carbendazim and mancozeb, a systemic fungicide, and it targets a broad spectrum of different fungal issues. We also have other products as well. We have the Star as well, which is the only viricide in Jamaica. And what the Star is, it basically helps the plant to function or basically to build the plant system so that it can thrive and not be affected by viruses. So when you take a look at the mosaic virus, the ring spot virus, the Star is quite effective in controlling these issues surrounding these crops.
Which is critical, of course, Murphy, to understanding how we take care of the plants and the kinds of products that we use. I'm glad to know that you have that range. So essentially, I'm gathering from what you're saying that Newport-Fersan Jamaica is far more than a fertilizer company. You're looking at how it is that you can help the farmers to improve their yields and, of course, take care of any pest and disease challenges that they have.
Exactly, okay, exactly. And the aim always is to make the farmers win. Right? The aim is just not to sell a product. The aim is to ensure that our farmers are winning at all times using Newport-Fersan.
Okay. The soil testing is one of the issues that I know that you're all very big on. when the farmers request that soil test and the samples come in, how does that assist you in terms of the direction in which you guide the farmers?
Okay, excellent question. Now, when it comes down to soil testing, one of the things that we pay attention to is the levels of the different um, nutrients within the
Nutrients?
soil. So, for example, if you should take a look at, and I basically made mention earlier to some of the key nutrients, like the potassium, the calcium. One of the things that we want our farmers to observe is that these levels, the better those levels are within the soil, then the system of the plant itself will be stronger. And therefore, when it comes down to certain attack by pests, the plant will basically be more resistant in warding off these issues. Now, one of the beauty of doing a soil test is that the farmer will also get a program. Now, this program is basically a guidance as to which fertilizer to apply at what time within the duration of the crop. Now, on this program, there's also a pesticide chart that will basically give you what to use and when to use it. So it's never a case where you're just utilizing one insecticide, one fungicide. You are given a rotational cycle of what to use and when to use. We also have certain services that we have at Newport-Fersan. So, for example, when we take a look at our field appraisal, so if any case a farmer is using a program, we basically conduct this field appraisal. So it's basically us going at the field and basically analyzing what's taking place. Because the environment is constantly changing. The weather pattern is constantly changing. So if it's a case where we're getting a lot of rainfall, then there has to be some changes. Or depending on the farmer system, if they're getting no rainfall whatsoever, there has to be a change. And finally, we also offer training sessions as well out here to educate these farmers on what to use, the mode of action of the pesticide, the application rate, the right recommended application rate, and other aspects as well.
Well, that is certainly very critical. I touched earlier on the whole issue of an integrated pest management control system. What would that include, Murphy?
All right. Now, Alwyn was making a mention to the integrated pest management system. And what this basically says, the first or the last line of defense has to be the chemical aspect. So what we want our farmers to understand, when it comes down to certain products, we don't want to cause any cytotoxicity within the plant. So if you can basically, as Alwyn had mentioned, to observe certain key practices within agriculture, do your crop rotation. We want our farmers to also observe necessary planting distance from crops, right? We don't want to plant the crops really close and then we have issues that we cannot control, right? So the last line of difference has to be the chemical aspect. So if you can get your cultural like practices up to par as best as possible, then it's better for you in the long run, right? And speaking on IPM as well out here, one of the things that I would also love to highlight is the importance of our farmers to observe the pH of the water that they're utilizing in mixing their chemicals. Now, oftentimes, a farmer will say they've used a product and they're not getting any results. But when you look at the water that they're utilizing, they're getting it from rivers, from spring, and what you find is that these pH levels are so high, it will basically compromise the efficacy of the product, therefore causing the product not to work as effectively. So we definitely are doing some work with our farmers, and again, our aim is to make sure that our farmers are winning out here.
Right. Murphy, I'm leaving it there for today, but thank you so very much. This is wonderful information that you have shared this morning, the kinds of products that can be used, how the farmer should use them to bring under control any issues and challenges that they might be having with pests and diseases. Much appreciated. Thank you so very much.
Yes, thank you also.
All right, take care. Murphy Gooden, agronomist, a quick word, and then we go to the break.
Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions was brought to you by Newport-Fersan Jamaica Limited, the first on the land.